we start talking about resource control and we start looking at non-negotiable rules, okay? The idea here is, in a regular day, you don't have 30 minutes to an hour to commit a lot of times to dog training. You know, people tell me all the time, oh yeah, I walk my dog every day. Well, I know what the actual answer is. They probably don't. But if we come up with a bunch of non-negotiable rules, let's say 10 or 15 that we use every single day, okay, some of the things we're talking about. You sit before you get fed. You sit when you get your leash put on. You don't get on couches or beds without permission. We're gonna, stop in doorways. We're gonna work. The non-negotiable rules give you a chance to work with your dog every day, throughout the day. And guess what? With just normal everyday life, you're now training your dog without thinking about it. It's the same thing we do with our kids. You know, with me, it's sir, ma'am, please, thank you, hold doors open for ladies, always listen to your mom, clean your room, do your homework. Beyond that, it's, we don't ask much, but those are the non-negotiables that have to happen every single day, okay? So once you get the idea of the hand feeding going, once you've started the idea that we're going to teach sit, say, please, once we sit down as a family and come up with 10 or 15 non-negotiable rules, we're heading down the track of easy dog training, okay? The last thing that I always discuss with clients is the idea of a 15-minute ignore. And he's a perfect example where he starts the yodeling. That is a typical button-pushing behavior. If I do this, I'm going to get attention from the owner. And the problem is, people always blink first. We either talk to the dog, yell at the dog, touch the dog, make eye contact. This is the one that everybody forgets is, we're humans, primates. We have opposable thumbs, all the gray matter, but we constantly have to be facially driven. I'm talking to you guys. If I wasn't making eye contact, I'd be rude. But when you stop and think about it, when two dogs stare at each other, it's either an invitation to play or it's a challenge. So that's one of the biggest differences between dogs and people. When your dog is doing something you don't like, about your only option to make the behavior go away is to ignore it or to replace it. And if you do both, it's going to go away even faster. So your replacement behavior in a lot of cases is simply a sit, because when a dog is sitting, a lot of times they're not doing anything else wrong. Plus they have the attention span of a rock. And if we ask them to do a watch me or a sit while they're doing something bad, a lot of times they just stand and stare at you, quit doing what was bad, and they sit down, which we can now reward, okay? No self-respecting dog is going to engage in a behavior that doesn't get them anything. The good side of that is that tells us how to fix it. The bad side is that any problem behavior our dogs have, we created because we're accidentally reinforcing it somehow that we're not thinking about it. So the key to the 15-minute ignore is that their attention span, a problem behavior is never going to last any longer than about 15 minutes if you don't give it any credence, if you don't give it any reinforcement.